Yep.
So we resolve into the committee of the whole recommendation, council resolve itself to the committee of the whole. By Lawrence, all in favor. So capital June 2021 capital project update.
Okay, yeah, so just broad strokes, the beach park concession washroom improvement is well underway. We poured a critical slab on the roof and it's curing at this point. BC Hydro has been on site the last couple of days. Today there was actually an outage at Silver Sands. I believe they made the connection now, so water and power will be to the building. So the priority now for me is to get some water on the grass out there and just the kids off their face. Working on that. Wastewater treatment plant. We have all of our equipment in. We've got the filter on site. There's been a little bit of a delay with some back and forth between the engineer and the contractor. We're trying to get the best deal we can on concrete. The design plan was pretty onerous on the contractor to pour a vault to those specifications. So they've gone back and forth, and I think at the end of the day we should see some better pricing for concrete. So we're ready to get going on that. The sludge with tubes that are laying down in that spot now has been removed. And I've got Wednesday the 21st is our day of fire construction. So along. Swimming center, we've got the risk assessment done in 3 buildings a little while ago. We've laid out a plan now to get OK restoration in there to remove all of the hazards. Before they can do that, they need the hazard removal procedures done. That's being formulated this week. Next week, we get all the hazards removed, and we've got the contractor on standby to come in at a cost plus rate. He's ready to get rolling. Main Street revitalization EOI is underway. Paving on Sicamous also was complete. The bridge, as you've noticed on the deck, that's been paved. The approach slabs have been prepped, and they should be paving all of that on Friday. So the site should be done right away. Nothing on the biofuel facility at this time. I had Bike Park. We've got the section 57 in. We've been contacted from Native Connect, and they've received our submission, and they have given us a couple of contacts to meet on site and go through the track or the trail. So that came in this morning. We're going to set up a meeting and get on site with them. That's what I'm okay for now.
Sorry, Daryl, I missed the date on the beach park concession. What do you think? Did I miss that?
You did. So did everybody else.
That's what I thought. So what do you think?
What I think is we're waiting for concrete to cure now. A few more days with the walls in, that'll have to cure. Floor. We can do some things in the interim to get the water going in the park and hopefully get some green back. Fixtures will be coming in after that and profiling. I'm thinking we're probably early August before we pull that building together.
Well, that's still this year. That's good.
I'd like to be able to at least have it together for a while this summer.
Yeah, that was
We're
perfect.
shooting, we're pushing them hard.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Wallace, go ahead.
Now they have power and they have water. Will you the kiddie little water park thing will have to get fired up.
As soon as we can, yeah, it's a priority.
How much was that?
Carol, I'm gonna miss something.
103K.
103.
Street revitalization of the buildings of the asbestos and action loss up the other day. Is there a timeline? Because I've got people fighting about those buildings. Where are we sitting?
So where we're sitting now is the procedures are getting crafted, and then I want to say the 21st, we're getting okay restoration in. So middle of next week, they'll be in. They'll probably take a week to get all the hazardous materials out of there. And we've got a local ready to get going in 5 or 6 days.
Level it all.
Yeah.
Move it all.
Yeah. Get some bins in and we'll remove all that to the landfill.
Where are they taking where are they taking the material?
It'll have to go to a landfill that's appropriate. So depending what it is, if it's some of the hazardous stuff, it may have to go to Seminar. If it's
So we could see completion at the end of July.
I'd say that might be a little ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say a month from now, I would like to think we're.
I like ambitious.
We'll try.
Thanks a lot, Harold. It's just we're planning an event on August long weekend as well. We need to see if we got I know you're John. Any other comments? Fair enough, then we'll move on. All right, so 2021 development application spot.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Matt, this is just a list of projects we're working on. Some of them, you can see the dates on July 14th. And some of them went to the Planning and Development Committee today. And then some of them just on referrals or waiting. We removed a couple of subdivisions because we issued the PLRs between the last meeting and this meeting, not last month, this month. Yeah, really just questions with council. Specific applications.
Comments or questions from council? All right, you can move on into the next thing. Permits.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, building permits. Yeah, you compare June 2021 to June 2020, and then the year to date. Yeah, a couple new single-family dwelling permits in June, and yeah, for kind of double the value of last year. I don't think there's any big reason for that, but yeah, 1 or 2 houses can
Good. Any comments or questions from council? Council Mons, go ahead.
Yeah, that was probably the one.
All right, so June 2021 bylaw enforcement, John, give us an update.
Mayor Council, thank you.
It's easy to wait, man. There's so much going on.
Complaints. Mostly on-site premises has really picked up, especially with the fire hazard. People are really looking at their neighbors' properties and raising concerns where they think something is dangerous. And as you can see by the patrol report, I've really stepped up on getting out there, getting out with the public, being in the park and doing some traffic enforcement, as well as down at the wharf and ticketing boats that were parked there overnight in contravention of the bylaws. I'm still saying that about the ticketing of the traffic for the traffic bylaw. As council may be aware, there was some concerns raised publicly in regards to some ticket amounts, which was more a result of my sloppy writing habit than an actual ticket amount. That situation has been rectified with the complaint or the public comments sort of calming down and not being as aggressive, I guess is the best way of putting it. With the more active enforcement, I have noticed more compliance in our traffic bylaws. There's less tickets being that I've issued in the last week than I have issued previously, just because of the public getting being more aware of the bylaws and the people that are out there doing the enforcement on it.
Comments or questions? Go ahead, Councilor Bush.
John, yeah, good work on stepping it up. Just one quick one. I brought that boat launch to your attention there, Wet Up Street. There's been a barge parked there for a while and it had a few complaints where it's just parked in the middle of the ramp on the weekend, and people can't really launch. They have to launch sideways over by waterways. So is that rectified that problem?
I have not rectified that problem as yet. When you brought it to my attention, that went on his off. It was on my list.
Yeah, because I mean, I know he runs a commercial operation up the lake, but he should, once he's finished using the ramp, he should, pull it away and at least let the public, and that's we're really gonna have to step that up, especially if we lose Finlayson. And those ramps are gonna have to be kept clear and can't be plugged up for the weekend. Thank you.
Just one thing about the legacy of the fire hydrants, that's the legacy, and we're down to distance on the fire hydrant and whatnot. There's some way we can just put a stake into the ground or somewhere near that so that the distance from that fire hydrant is, we had a complaint and had a conversation all with now, fine and whatever else, but we can get some clarity there on that particular location on that fire hydrant would be good.
So I have been informed that someone went out there and spray painted the ground. I haven't seen it myself. But
maybe we would respond to
I do have a measuring wheel and I'm going out doing a proper measurement and making a mark on it and discussing with Public Works about maybe getting a line painted or some sort of yellow marking painted to signify the proper distance.
I think fire hydrant ticketing is more important now than everything else that happens in Mac and so forth. I mean, we've got to make sure that nobody's parked in front of fire hydrants. But anyway, that was the case. There was a proper measurement part and there was no mark in there. So anyway, thanks for that. That's what we've got that looked at. All right, any other comments or questions in regard to the bylaw? Thank you, John. You're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Right, we got a verbal update from our CAO. Are you in Parliament?
How much time do I have?
I don't know, but the last time I.
5 minutes?
You were wearing a pink shirt along with from mom the full around.
That's personal.
You got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Feel like I'm a delegation.
Yeah, what time do you like?
Okay, just quickly, Shuswap Healing Center update. A lot of work has gone into reviewing the 9 submissions. We've narrowed it down to 3, and next week we're going to have further interviews of the 3. We've involved, of course, Councillor McCabe has been involved, Brian Marr has been involved, and we've tried to engage and receive some comments from Splash Scene. Council knows that all 9 submissions were strong, but the final 3 we're very pleased with the quality of the submissions. The pricing seems right, but we'll have a better idea next week after we complete the first set of interviews on the short list. Secondly, next week, I think you've received an update that MOTI would like to meet with some members of council on Monday, the 19th to talk about the Bruin Bridge. I think everyone got the invite, so that's next week. We're also going to talk about our request to maintain a full second access in the downtown core. The bioheat facility, the contracts are being drawn up with Fink. Kelly and I have been working on the first invoice that's come in. Burkhard Fink has been in town. He's commissioned his team to start the preliminary design of the bioheat facility. So we're finally going to see that thing go off, or get off the ground. We're committed for full funding for fiscal year 2021-22, which means both the feds and the province will fully commit their contribution to this facility by March 31st, 2022. So that's going to be ramping up. We've made some tremendous headway with the Finlayson properties. As council knows, we're going to be working to see some development on that and to increase our downtown core. And we continue to negotiate with the Bruin Bridge project, some marine enhancements. We've got great plans to replace and refurbish Finlayson boat launch and also provide the public with day use parking for both boat and trailer. This Friday, the Rail to Trail Governance Committee meets. There is a letter on the agenda, which of course, Councillor Malmus and Mayor Rice have seen. I just want to clarify in that letter, I take exception to the language of the letter. They're basically saying that the District of Sicamous will not participate in the enforcement of SPIA and RAR because of significant staff changes at the District of Sicamous. I don't know what that means, but it's in the letter, and it basically conveys to the residents that live on the west side of the channel that this delay in enforcing anything on the rail to trail relative to RAR and SPIA is due to significant staff changes at the District of Sicamous, and that's pure poppycock. So you will see that letter and you'll deal with that accordingly on Friday. This week is the last week of Dr. Beach. He wants to keep it low key, but 45 years of unselfish service to this community, he is officially done on Friday. And so we are going to present something at a later date, but if you have a chance to say thank you to Jack, he will be in the clinic. He is in the clinic this week. But yeah, Friday, the 16th of July is his last day, 45 years. He's retired. So right now, it was asked by Councillor McKayev on the short-term plan in terms of providing the citizens with proper health care between now and September 1, because Dr. Alam starts in September 1. We do have our two physicians, both Vicky and Carol, who are going to hold the fort between now and September 1. Dr. Alam has been in contact with an owner of a home. So he's looking to make Sicamous his home for the next 2 years minimum. So those negotiations are going well. And of course, we're going to try to access locum support as well. And so as council knows, locum is for a physician to come in and support a doctor who's on leave or weekend support. And as you also know, we are eligible for locum funding, but providing accommodation is always a challenge. And the last thing, this weekend, we, in recognition of our partner and Truth and Reconciliation, are hosting our second series of events with Splatsheen. So this weekend, there's going to be a canoe event where Splatsheen is going to leave the Enderby area and come out this way. And they're going to be staying over at the dog park on Saturday. They're going to be camping. And as you know, that's a very sacred spot for Splatsheen. So they're going to camp, and Jamie and Daryl are providing the logistics for them to stay overnight at our dog park. And then on Sunday, the elders will be also in town, and they're going to head over and provide some education and some history of the Swansea Point pictographs. So the District of Sicamous is providing a 2-hour houseboat for the elders from Sicamous houseboats to the pictographs and back. So there's going to be roughly a 2-3 hour boat ride with the Splatsheen elders. And I'm placing a call to anyone on council who would like to drive the boat, because we need a driver. We need a driver. And this is something that is part of our, of course, our protocol and friendship accord. So I am asking if anyone would be able to meet them on site at 12:30 and drive the boat for a couple of hours, or if you know someone who would be willing to do that, please direct them to me. Because right now we are driverless, but I'm sure we'll find someone. So that's what's going on Sunday. If there's an opportunity for anyone on council to participate on either day, let us know and we can certainly fit you in. Again, on Saturday, Jamie and Daryl are handling the logistics with the kids and the canoe trip. We're providing is it pizza and pop? And in support of this initiative, and then Sunday with the houseboat. Also, I should mention that staff have looked at the summer calendar. The next scheduled council meeting is the 28th of July, then one after that is August 11th. It would be nice if we could cancel one of them. I don't know which one works best with council. Just because of the summer holidays and the vacation. It would help if we could either cancel one or call a special meeting if required, but what date works? I'm not here on the 11th. I'm attending a wedding in Saskatchewan. Some are not here on the 28th, but we're not asking to cancel both. We're just asking council to consider, because of the summertime, of canceling one of them if possible. That's something we can discuss later. Staff update. Where did Shauna go? Shauna's coming back. Just quickly, staff at the management level are looking at the fall of 2021 on what our staffing needs will be. What has become very evident is the list of facilities that the district owns keeps growing. We own a daycare. We're going to be owning a new community health center. We already own Finlayson Place. We have boat launches. We have hockey academies. We've got curling rinks. Facilities and facility maintenance is important. But really what we're looking at is community services and soft services and the community wellness plan and all the different social programs we're offering. We're going to be looking at bringing in some bench strength to assist in community services. So not hard infrastructure, which is Daryl's department, but more of the soft infrastructure. Also, even though I originally mentioned it, but it has been supported by staff, that we're not going to be doing an external competition for Joe McCulloch's position. We don't need to. We already have our operations manager. He's right here in his lovely baby blue shirt. And Daryl's accepted the position of operations, which he's been doing anyways. And so that's going to allow us to now focus on the social services and community services side. So we will not be replacing Joe with an external person. Instead, we're going to just promote Daryl, who has been working hard and covering for Public Works for the last 3-4 months and knows and has the full support of the crew. So with that, we're going to be formalizing that appointment with a salary commensurate with those duties. I thought you were clapping because you thought I came to the end of my report.
Well, that's it.
That's it. Thank you.
And I think that if you wanted to carry on for another 15 minutes, you could easily.
Thank you.
Councilor Mullins.
Call out the.
Will you? That'd be terrific. Thank you.
I can drive.
12:30 Sicamous houseboats. Thank you, Jeff. Sunday.
That gives me an opportunity to lobby.
There'll be 20 to 22 people. So yeah, thank you.
I make it.
All right, yeah.
All right, so any other comments or questions for Ellen at this stage? Hearing none, then we're going to go ahead, Councilor.
I just, if there was any update from Eagle Valley Senior Citizens Housing Society regarding affordable housing that you were able to share.
Yes, so thank you. On Friday last, we had a Zoom call with Scott, myself, and Dylan. And, you know, we made it very clear that council wants to see the option, including the Paradise 10-meter access point. He has prepared that. He had questions on approving officer. He had questions on studies like geotech and help me here, Scott, there was another one. Surveying. So we answered those questions. But in light of the news involving electoral area E and Nerona Martin on a personal level, there has been no attempt to call an immediate meeting, but we were shown, both Scott and I, some concepts which did honor council's request that option is there. And there were some other iterations that are going to come before both groups as soon as we can call a meeting when it's appropriate.
Thank you.
Carry on. So the Eagles Nest short-term rentals. Jamie, before we read out this recommendation, I'll get you to do work from council. Let's do. You see this listing.
Thank you, through the chair. We built a very, very beautiful facility in intentions of having a hockey academy come to our community. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out because of the COVID, and we made a great relationship with the Eagles and we're to rent that during the operating. However, during summertime, the building is definitely right now sitting empty. So what we're proposing right now, due to interest, from other not-for-profits, other sports companies and sports businesses, is to set forth some potential rental rates in order to rent out our facility. Keeping in mind that our facility is quite unique from a lot of other communities when you're dealing with summer camps, things like that. We're providing full services of staffing, full services when it comes to meal prep and things like that. So what we're looking at, and the information that I gathered, I kind of just looked around the area to see the type of camps were being offered, such as Grade, Mackenzie camp, and I kind of took the price points that they were offering for if you were to rent out the facility as a team function. So say if you wanted to do a staff retreat, or if you wanted to do just rentals as maybe family reunion, that sort of thing. So that's where the rental rates came up. So taking into the fact that we aren't actually staffing the facility, we're not feeding the facility, I kind of talked about the different rates. So we're proposing a rental rate of $1,400 for a weekly rental. A daily rental, so say someone wanted to come in for a weekend event, like say Jay DeWitt was hosting the softball tournament and he wants to host his umpires, or say someone like Beyond the White Lines are coming in and they're looking for accommodation rentals or hockey schools or things that we can actively promote and market out to the community. We would look at a daily rate of $20 per person, up to the maximum of the 22 people that can be housed in the facility. We would charge a $1,000 damage deposit, and then we would attach a $35 an hour cleaning fee should we feel that one needs to be assessed, and that would be retained out of the damage deposit that we pay.
Thank you. Comments or questions for Jamie?
So Jamie, have you looked into, or any of these groups right now are requesting the facility? Are you getting inquiries for group facilities?
Yes, there are a few hockey junior league clubs, things like that now that have seen our nest and have reached out to us. Beyond the White Lines was also interested as well as being part of this. However, I do need to know, due to the COVID-19 regulations and the actual sleepover camp regulations right now, a lot of them have backed away because they are capped at a maximum of 12 individuals sleeping at a camp with 2 instructors. So it's kind of prohibited right now if they're looking at bringing in a hockey camp of say 50, 60 kids, but they can only house 12 when that facility can actually house 22. So it's a little prohibited right now.
So is there an opportunities for perhaps some staff housing? So
That's
if we were to reach out, if the district was to reach out to, HR at, Sicamous Houseboats or Blue Water, Twin Acres, and see if they need some employee housing.
why we're bringing this before council is to get a sense of appetite of what council is looking at and what they would like to see with this. Do keep in mind, if we do open it up for that, then it does limit any type of any hockey camps, any ball camps, because those facilities, as I know, the housing shortage is big here, and as it is everywhere. If we then turn it into staff housing, we now are turning away those other options. So I think it needs to be really weighed out between the two sources.
When do you think the hockey school schedule would kick in? Because if you're looking at staff housing for employers in town, and not just houseboat companies, but I'm sure there's others that are looking, they're usually by the end of August, beginning of September done.
No, a lot of the hockey schools that we normally house here, with respect to Councillor Anderson, actually start the beginning of July.
But they haven't yet.
They haven't this year due to COVID and due to the fact that the chiller has broke down. We do have, I do know that the Eagles, with the season that will be starting for them this year, because we are out of the COVID movement, they're looking at actually wanting to negotiate the lease starting the last week of August.
Yeah, and that might work though. All I'm saying is that might work. You're negotiating end of August. These guys might be finished by, it slows down.
Mr. Parliament, your comments on this as far as the actual rates and what you take.
Well, some could look at the proposed rates and say that's a little high. However, we have to be mindful, in a way, we are competing with commercial businesses that provide accommodation. We have to respect that there are those that pay commercial taxes and provide accommodation. However, there is a discretionary clause in there that allows the waiver of fees if it's a non-for-profit use. And we're trying to make it as attractive as possible, but we just can't give it away for free. And so each case is different, and there is a discretionary clause in there. I do expect in the next couple of years that we're going to get some pushback from those in the accommodations business. Why are you, District of Sicamous, providing free lodging if we decide to waive it, when I have available units? So we just have to be mindful of that. I like the non-for-profit. If there's a community benefit, then we can certainly look at reducing those fees, but $20 per person per day, if you have a group of 10 or 20, that's very reasonable. That's very reasonable. So overall, I can certainly understand the fee structure. It's not, we can always fine tune it depending on what's being proposed and the community benefit.
Other municipalities are looking at this model for sports reasons.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Evans, Councillor Malmus, and Councillor Bush.
Thank you, through the chair. If I could ask Jamie, the Eagles are going to be ramping up this fall, which is good news. Do you anticipate that they're going to be staying? Some of them like last year?
Yes, they would like to renegotiate that, be switching hats to the vice president of the Eagles. Yes, they are. We would like to be able to retain these and that's this year. It was a very positive thing for a team, even though we did not have the opportunity to play many games. Being in that team situation and that has been a part of the team, it really helped the team bond. And there is a lot of needs for short-term housing. Trying to find billets for hockey players, being a hockey mom, knowing how tough it is to open your home to a 17-year-old to a 20-year-old, with knowing how much they shower, use your internet, how much food they eat. They want to send the girls in and out, those type of things. Where at least if they're in the nest, if it's controlled and it's maintained, the coaches can keep a very good integrity on the boys.
Councillor Malmus.
Through the chair, yeah, that was kind of where I was going. Was built from asset. We put this whole deal together, which I was asked for. The rent was $9,000 a month. That was to cover our costs. Now we got some money from the government to cover the COVID thing. Now I assume the whole COVID lights come down, so we'll see more from the government. But I can see for a hockey or for a ball tournament or something that coaches like Jake asked for, I can see for that. but competing against the hotels, when we're trying to get rid of the Airbnb, $20 a person, a daily rate. My question is, were these rates calculated based on that? We still are kind of 12 people maximum. Is that how you came up with these rates? Because
We based the $20 per day based on a like more of a weekend rate, so if it was like a weekend tournament and say Jake wanted to have some umpires stay in there, it kept it affordable for them to stay there, and then that would be based on the full facility being rented out for them, so that would be the $20 times the 22 people that would stay in the nest.
so, and I'm just throwing it out there. It's imperative that rental schedule that we came up with to cover the cost of this thing gets met. So I would actively be forming hockey academies to get that all again, as opposed to 35. I mean, I love it if I go to the games, but for the $3,600 or $4,600 a month, they pay. Yeah, no, that's not. I wouldn't like to see that in your so it was not we offered to accommodate them, but it needs to get to the position of being an asset for the identical, because that's what's done.
It's fine, it's empty right now.
Councillor Bushel, then.
Yeah, through the chair, Jamie, do you have any insight? Like, I know a lot of times, or a few years ago, a lot of the hockey teams could not get a room at like the Best Western wouldn't take them. They didn't like hockey teams. Is that still going on?
Yes, the hockey teams, ball teams,
Yeah.
things like that. I wouldn't necessarily say saying this to open this up to like a men's hockey team, ladies ball tournament, that sort of thing. I'm looking more at the youth programs. And to further what Councillor Melvin is saying, is Carly and I have actually sat down and we've met. We're actually creating an events hosting guide where we'll be featuring all the different entities that the District of Sicamous actually has. So we'll be feeding that out to Via Sport. We'll be feeding that out to things like the Boost and Ultra people. We'll be feeding that out to BC Hockey, Hockey Canada. So that way they actually know that this asset that we actually have and that we own is actually put out there. And as we build on it, then we can build on the rates that we do. Right now, we're just trying to get our foot in the door and trying to get people to be aware of what it is, and then we'll increase fees as the usage comes up.
Thank you.
Parliament,
Did you want to?
Sorry, Evan wants me to go first here. I just wanted to point out something is that this weekly rate of $1,400 a month is less than the monthly rate that we've been charging the Eagles. The Eagles, we've been charging $6,700 a month to rent that facility. So if we are going to reduce the weekly rate to $1,400 a month, we should really look at the rate we're charging the Eagles as well, or increase the weekly rate so it matches what the Eagles are paying monthly. That $6,700 a month that we were charging the Eagles, it covers the principal and interest payment of the hockey facility. So that's why that number was picked. So before we put anything in the fees and charges bylaw, we want to make sure that whatever we do, we're applying it consistently.
Yeah, further to that, I think the intent of this recommendation is short-term rentals.
That's correct.
So if I read this correctly, you're talking non-seasonal use, summertime only.
Yes, that's
A
correct.
separate contract would be with a long-term tenant, which currently, as Kelly stated, we collect X dollars for the Eagles. I think this report talks about the summer months, what I call the non-seasonal use, short-term use.
That's correct.
Yeah.
When the Eagles, typically the Eagles season would start in the middle of August and run say to the end of March, so March 31st. Should they continue on with playoffs, and we would deal with that on a month-to-month basis. We're talking from April 1st until mid-August, and that short season time where we know that we're trying to build up on the actual alternates, hockey schools, things like that. And we do know that a lot of our hockey schools and stuff, when they take place in the middle of the summertime right now, they can't get accommodations. I know for a fact that families are staying in Salmonar, commuting here from Salmonar to get to our arena. So if we can have some junior teams and some, some hockey academies, softball academies come here, and we can provide them an extra space for them to house some people, they can up their fees, and as they up their fees, then we can up our rate as well.
One thing for a hockey player to attend the dorm during the hockey academy, while their parents are staying at Best Western. So they're not gonna be staying in the dorm, the player will be, but the parent won't be, so it's actually gonna benefit some of the other facilities as well, in my opinion. Anyway, if there's any more, I will read the resolution. Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Recommendation that the committee recommend that the fees and charges of bylaw be amended to include rental rates for the district's modular accommodation facility located at 1129 Eagle Passway. I need to move her on this. Councillor Malmus, seconded by Councillor Harris. Any other comments on this? Councillor Malmus, go ahead.
Well, as suggested by the CFO. Or somehow this should be part of that. It doesn't say anything here about seasonal. It's messing up your key point.
Agreed.
Go ahead, Jen.
The bylaw will be up for consideration later today, so we can make amendments at that time if we wanted to adjust it today, or even not read it today with those fees and like the next meeting. Either or.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, sort of what Jen said there, this recommendation is not tied to the staff report, right? The recommendation stand alone, so it's up to staff to make sure there's consistency in application. So I think it's good to wait.
That's how I read it. So, any other comments on this? Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, just to clarify it. So for example, when the bylaws come before council, if a hockey academy wants to rent the Eagles Nest for the month of July, for the entire month, we're going to make sure they're paying what the Eagles are paying, if not more. But if someone else, a non-for-profit, wants to rent for 2 weeks and they agree to the price per week or per person, that's different. We're going to make sure that the summer hockey academies are paying the full freight equal to what we would charge a long-term tenant. And we'll get more specific on that because there's going to be a lot of demand for hockey schools to use this facility. And we're going to make sure they're not receiving a subsidy or less. An outside hockey school would be paying less than the Eagles are paying. So we got to make sure those numbers make sense, which I believe what Councillor Malmus is asking. Because we've already set the bar for the long-term rate with the Eagles.
Back to your council. Right, any other comments then? I'm going to call a question. All those in favor? Very unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, Jamie. All right, review of tax exemption bylaw. Recommendation that staff be directed to set up a workshop for the purpose of reviewing the District of Sicamous revitalization tax exemption bylaw number 917, 2016. Maybe the move. Councillor Mullins, Councillor Bushel, Kelly, can you give us a report as to reason?
Yes, most definitely. So back in 2016, we established a tax exemption, a revitalization tax exemption bylaw to encourage investment and revitalization for commercial, industrial, and hotel development through a tax incentive program. So these are the areas: town center, industrial, highway, commercial, hotel development. And you can do a tax exemption to a maximum of 10 years. So we had a working group and we met to determine thresholds for the different areas. And these areas directly tie to the OCP. Since we have adopted this tax exemption bylaw, we've had 7 businesses apply for them. 5 of them in the town center, 1 in the industrial park, and 1 highway commercial. So it has been used. Has that development been a result of the tax incentive program? Probably not, but it is still being used. And Councillor Bushel came to me to talk to me about providing some tax incentives for purpose-built rental housing, because they do that at the City of Kelowna and a few other places. So I thought, you know what, we've had this bylaw for 5 years now. Maybe it's a good time to look at the areas, look at the thresholds, see what's working, see what's not working, if we want to tweak anything, and if we want to potentially add municipal tax incentive for purpose-built rental units, it would be an opportunity to do that as well. So we just do a little workshop, probably take about an hour, hour and a half with either a few counselors or all of council, to be determined.
Councilor Holmes, go ahead. Councilor Bush.
So 10 years is the maximum that you can grab. That's only on,
Correct.
Councilor Bushel, then Councilor McCabe.
Through the chair, yeah, it's just another way of trying to, and this is long-term rentals, not like short-term rentals, this is long-term rental. And there's lots of big developers buying up other apartments and getting into the long-term rental business. And this could be another way of, just opening up our community where a developer would come in and buy a big piece of property and build long-term rentals that we haven't had an apartment building built here for a long time, so it's just something that Kelly could help us work our way through.
Thank you.
No, I think Councilor Bushell's got an excellent idea. I like it.
All right. Any other comments? Call question, all those in favor? All right, thank you, Kelly. All right, strategic priorities. Comments or questions in regards to any of the strategic priorities by council? Just an update from our CEO on some of them, but anything specific that you'd like to talk about? You aren't seeing any hands up. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so it's council report time. Councilor Bushel, you can start.
It's been a busy term, the past few weeks, 3 weeks, I guess, we have since our last council meeting. Been busy working with Scott and his team. We had a couple subdivision problems that we've been working on, and met with some engineers and working on that. Had a tour this morning with our planning committee, and we also, Jeff chaired the planning committee meeting this morning, so lots of new proposals coming to council. So staff are doing a really good job pushing all that paperwork through, and we've got lots of development proposals or building permits. And what else do we do? Short-term rentals. Staff put together the short-term rental open house Canada Day weekend, and the survey that's ongoing right now ends at the end of the month. So we'll make sure everybody gets the word out about short-term rental surveys. Ends at the end of July. Zoning bylaw draft housing starts tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, tomorrow. So yeah, make sure everybody gets involved in that, and we have a schedule of when those dates are. What else do we have? Family Day meeting. Jamie put together a Family Day meeting, and we talked about that. I don't know if Jamie's still here. It would be nice to have an update on what our Family Day meeting or Family Day weekend is going to be like. And that's about it, I think.
Thanks, Councilor Anderson.
I don't have too much. I was working with the ladies from Invasive Species Quite Good Zebra Mussels. We have them down at Quinlan Boat Launch with tent last weekend or the weekend before, and suggested that they start doing some cards that we can pass out and just put on windshields of the boats that make people more aware. So boats that are sitting, we can charge those too. So more information, communication. So they're going ahead and making some of those cards up so we can drop them on boats. That's it for me.
Thank you. Yeah, not much to report. I did stop in at the open house for short-term rentals just to see how the storyboards look. Add some comments. Just to the public, there's Ministry of Transportation is doing their annual survey or customer satisfaction survey. And so the district has posted that on their website. So I encourage everybody to go in and do that survey.
Councilor report. Councilor Moss.
Get ready for the big rail trail weekend, right?
Councilor Evans.
pretty slow right now, except for helping with a survey of kids in the community, working with the marvelous staff on a secret project.
Top secret.
Okay, so attended the planning committee meeting, lots of different things going on. Scott, team are really busy with that. Friday is the rail trail meeting. Be an interesting conversation. August 2nd, we will be putting on a family day with along with the Chamber of Commerce, and so looking forward to that. We're finally going to be able to have an event, although the restrictions that we've got looking into it and whatnot, and how we lay out the events and whatnot was a bit complicated, but both Jamie and Sheila got that kind of figured out. Canada Day was an interesting. I walked around town during Canada Day and went out to the beach park and had a conversation with a few people. I went over to Brenda Giselle's and had a conversation with her. And there was lots of people in town. And it was really actually kind of crazy. It was that busy. So it was nice to see the town being that busy. But at the same time, it seems to be concerns about the fact that we didn't put on any events and but you know that was pretty much the way it was right across Canada. So and the lakes and the community and of course we got the issues with wildfires and whatnot. I have to hand it to Brad and his crew. We sent out 4 different groups to 4 different fires. Buying areas and whatnot, and putting Brad in, he was going to the county fire. But at the same time, he's been keeping me updated, and we still got enough coverage here in town in order to look after our best interest here, just in case anything happens. It's a busy lake, it's busy times, and she's smoky, and we're going to have a short video being instructed by Sarah, myself, and Carly in supporting the basics from a white person of my report. Lots going on out there. All right, so next. Advisory report. Okay, recommendation of the committee of the whole on the rise report and that recommendation for the July 14th, 2021 committee of the whole. Keep moving. Councilor McCabe, Councilor Bushel, all in favor? Here. All right, so now we have public input. Is there anybody that has their hands up that would like to speak? I know we have Jeff sitting in the gallery here.
I can go last.
I'll address.
Anybody with wish to address council, please raise your hand online.
Any hands? All right, so now in the gallery, Deb, go ahead. You have a report for us.
Yeah, so just a couple of things. I'm hoping to do a delegation probably at the next meeting because of course everything has been changing lately. So with the Fungi Festival, just as a heads up, I intend to go back to full-on Fungi Festival. Like last year was kind of a pared down version. I'm hoping to go back to full-on. The Legion is in. I'm not looking for any financial support from the district, but I would like a bit of support from them as far as logistical support with regards to fencing and, like whatever we can do with regards to the smaller stage, whatever in terms of at the Legions. So I will come back to you guys with that in a few weeks. The other thing I was going to say is I really, want to give kudos to people like Daryl and John and all of these people that are keeping things going. I personally am desperately trying to keep everything alive right now. It's just been a little bit of a nightmare. So the project work, like with the Legion and the Arts Council, is being great, and we've got our little garden / we'll we'll have our barn quilts up behind the Legion. But right now, it's just desperately trying to keep everything alive. It's just been a bit of a nightmare, and I really appreciate the support of the guys around town. They're the best.
Thank you. The town looks fairly, I mean, it looks great for the.
We're doing the best we
running
can,
as
right?
wide as
It's
it
just
is.
crazy.
I have to say. We want our garden a big time, and I'll tell you what, it's the best garden I think we've ever had, which needs water. Anyway, anybody else would like to comment and ask a question of council? All right, good. We'll move on. Thanks for that, Deb. All right, the annual report. So, recommendation that in conjunction with submissions and questions from the public, council has considered and approved the 2020 annual report as presented this 14th day of July 2021. I need a mover on that resolution. Councilor Aries, Councilor Evans. Jen, can you just give us a short update on that? That's unbelievably well.
So today you will be considering the annual report in conjunction with any comments from the public. This is a statutory requirement, but of course it also presents the opportunity to highlight Sicamous and the achievements of council. So I'm just going to I'm not going to read it word for word, but I will just kind of go through our statutory requirements that must be included in this report, such as the financial statements and the tax exemptions. We must report on municipal services as well as progress report on all strategic priorities, declare any disqualifications. I think we all made it through another year with no disqualifications, well done. And any other information the council considers desirable. So I'll quickly run through it. I just do want to feature this wonderful photo that was done by, or picture that was done by Steffi. I threw out a vision statement to her and I said, we want to feature you in the annual report. Can you draw something to me? And this is what she came up with. It's absolutely beautiful. So this is the first page in our annual report this year. That's great. We feature a community profile. We've updated this year to more of the language that we do in terms of advertising Sicamous. This is just a beautifully written summary of what Sicamous offers as a place to live and a place to invest, play more, live more, as well as our partnership with Spotsy. A message from the mayor is included and all these smiling faces of council. Such a nice photo of you guys. A message from the town manager, strategic priorities. The accomplishments of council in 2020 and considering this COVID year, there were quite a few. So these are all summarized here, what we achieved. And then also this year we'll go, like 2020 will go down in history as unprecedented. And so we did feature, how did the district respond to the global pandemic and just like a timeline of what we did, kind of this month and month of how we adapted and how we attempted to serve our community. The Dev Corp, and just, we brought on Carly in 2020 and that was really exciting, and the progress that the Dev Corp has made, and also just an infographic there for the public of the structure and the role of the Dev Corp and how it relates to Sicamous in the district. This is so pretty. And then of course we do need to report on the functions and the services. So this is a high level overview of each of the departments and what they do. And then we can break down what each department did. And the goals for 2021 moving forward. Lots of statistics in there. And yep, all the right departments. And then of course, finance, we must report on all permissive tax exemptions that were provided. We included the goals for finance as well, financial plan, and then the statement of financial interest that council approved the last meeting. So at the time of today, there are no written comments received from the public. I don't know if you want Mayor to invite the gallery if they'd like to comment, if they want to provide any comments before council officially approves this.
Comments or questions on the annual report? Go ahead. Councilor Evans.
Thank you, through the chair. It is fantastic. Well done. Like, Sicamous is awesome. It makes us look even more awesome.
Good job.
Good job.
Any more comments or questions? I tell you what, the annual report really shows, in my opinion, is how much we actually have going on. And, how great our staff is. Awesome. Good job. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, so next on the agenda. Property tax update, staff report, 2021 property tax update. Kelly, you want to give us an update?
Yes, I would love to. I'm just gonna share my screen here real quickly because Miss Jennifer stole it. No, that's fine. Okay, because this is really exciting stuff. So very happy to report that our tax deadline has come and gone, and we have collected 7.6 million or 84% of our total taxes that we billed for the year. So we billed 8.4 million, of which 3.4 million of that is for other government agencies. So we retain 5 of that. And at the end of our tax collection due date, we have 800,000 left over. So 6% of total taxes, which is actually better than last year. And I'm using the October 1st due date because we pushed that back. So we had about 11% outstanding in October 1st, 2020, as actually, and in 2019, it was also around 11%. So our tax collection, people do have more money right now and they are paying their taxes. So that's encouraging. Also, just a little stat that I always put on here is the percentage of people who claim their homeowner grant. So those are people who it's their principal residence, and it's about the same between both years. It's about 32% of our folios or homeowners that claim a homeowner grant. So that's just some interesting tidbits. In addition, I thought I would give everybody a credit card update. So back in 2018, at the end of 2018, we started to accept credit card payments. And so this year specifically, there was the first 6 months, we had 36 people use it. So when people use it, there is a 2.5% charge to them. So they do pay extra to use the credit card, but it is an option, especially with COVID, that I think people are using. And I just wanted to do a shout out to all the staff that were here. The last week of collecting taxes was extremely hot. In that 1 week, we collected $3.4 million or almost 45% of our total tax collected. And during that heat wave, there was about a day and a half where our air conditioning wasn't working as well. So it was extremely hot in here and everybody was still super awesome and did a fabulous job. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks. Comments or questions for Kelly? Good job, Kelly. Side, well done. Good work. You have your staff.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the next thing, the June 2021 financial report. Kelly?
Okay, so another very exciting report for everybody. So I didn't do the first quarter because not much had happened the first quarter. So I thought after 6 months would do just a little quick summary of where we are at financially. And we are where we should be. We've collected a similar amount of revenue, which is the majority of our revenue. And we've spent less than 50%, so that's better, of our expenditures. And we have a little surplus at the end of the year of about $3 million. So very in line with where we should be for this time of year. A couple of little highlights I'd like to point out. In sale of services here, it's 123,000, so it's a little bit more than last year. Some things that are in there are rent of 53,000 that include Finlayson Place rent, library rent, rent from the Main Street property and from the hockey accommodation facility. So that was 53,000. We've also collected 20,000 in recreational revenue, which I think is pretty good considering COVID and everything. There's an increase in our recreational revenue. And we have a whopping $5,400 for the medical clinic in there. So that's only for the first 2 weeks of billing. This last 2 weeks of billing, there was 14,000 of revenue. So we're hoping that will increase as the doctors are there and generating income. And in addition, there's some cemetery revenue and a bunch of other smaller items. So I just wanted to point out the sale of services. As we offer more services, there's more different types of smaller revenues in there. As well, one more revenue thing I'd like to point out is licenses, permits, and fines. So in there is our fines, but also our building inspection and our development fees. And as you can see, it went up from 61 to 93. And that's really because of more activity in development services. Our development fees have increased from about just over 3,500 to 14,000. So that's a significant increase. That's more than triple. And then our building permits and our business licenses have increased from 61,000 to 75,000. So there is more, it's not huge, but there is more activity in development services. So I just wanted to highlight that. In terms of expenditure, something to highlight is public health and welfare. So this went from 30,000, which was just cemetery, mainly in the prior year, and this year up to 93,000. And what do we have in there? We have the bulk of that, 49,000, is for the operating of the health center, of which a large chunk was for the actual acquisition of the health center. In there as well, we have the cost of operating the daycare building, which is just over 3,000, as well as just over 3,000 for Main Street properties, and that's prior to the demolition, just the operating, as well as 30,000 for operating Finlayson Place, just the operating cost of that building. So overall, we are where we should be. I just thought I'd point out a few little nuggets of new information. And then we will zip into the water fund, the water and sewer fund are very unexciting this time of year because unlike the general funds, we have massive deficits here because we bill flat at the beginning of the year and we still have the 2 meters to bill. So our revenue is very low, which is what we expect. And our expenditures are absolutely in line with where they should be. This is the water fund and same with the sewer fund. The only difference here is the revenue is much lower for the sewer fund. And the reason for that is we went through and we reversed and adjusted some non-compliant fees on sewer for areas where there was excessive cost to hook up to sewer. And that non-compliant fee was $1,900 per lot. So we did reverse some. And we actually reversed them last year, but it wasn't until later in the year. So that's why it doesn't look so, the comparatives look a little bit funny. But I am confident that we will generate the revenue that we have budgeted for both of those funds by the end of the year. And this year as well, I broke out in a little bit more detail the capital budget to actual. I'm not going to discuss it in detail. This is just for information. And both myself and Daryl are here if you have any questions. So I've got it broken out by general government. So we've spent 240,000 of 2.7 million we have budgeted there. Parks, Recs and Events, 187,000 we've spent of 1.8 million. Transportation services, we spent 2 million, which is primarily the bridge of 4.6 million. And protective services, 27,000 of 70. Water and sewer, we've got about 18,000 of 310 and 139,000 of 949. So overall, we have spent about 25% of our capital budget. So I'm anticipating that this number will significantly increase over the next 6 months. And as you know, there are capital projects that we put in the budget, hopeful of grants that we don't actually get to. So we probably won't spend 10.5 million this year, but I'm hopeful to get the number up. So we are doing spending the money that we have budgeted for. And I've also on this Sicamous bridge replacement, I provided a more detailed breakdown. And this is from start to finish. It's not just for the year, it's the total project costs. So we have spent 3.9 million of 5.6 million as at the end of June. So we still have 1.7 remaining. Most of it is for the negotiated contract price. And as you can see, our engineering is a little over already. So we're hopeful to save some money on the negotiated contract price to offset that increase. So we'll see how it goes as the project progresses. And that's it for my financial report. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Comments or questions? Councilor Bushel.
Just want to say that's a great report, Kelly. Thank you very much. Very interesting.
Another comment. Councilor Wallace.
Thanks, I know, it's very interesting.
It is. I love financials.
I do too.
Thank you for making it understandable.
You're welcome, that's my job.
Thanks, Kelly.
Good job.
You know what? Great work. And, this community is very, very fortunate to have you as our CFO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Fantastic job.
All right, moving on. Development permit application number 21-203 DP / temporary use permit application number 21-203 926 C frontage road. I'm not going to read out this entire recommendation, but we will refer back to it. Scott, give us a report. Mr. Chair, so this is an application for a development permit and temporary use permit. The applicant is here in the audience. If you have any questions for her. Property is located at 926 C frontage road. It's right next door to Sicamous Cedar Products. So there's two lots there of Sicamous Cedar Products, and then this property is owned by Sicamous Cedar Products, and it's a vacant lot. The property is designated highway commercial in the official community plan, and then it's also part of the highway commercial development permit area B. The property is zoned C2, which is highway commercial. On the screen, you can see the on the right, the schedule of the actual development permit. So the applicant is proposing to put a RV on the property for a home office, and they're gonna operate a landscape off the property, 10 by 10 shed and a deck. So the development permit area requires buffering and landscaping. They're looking to provide a 3-meter landscape buffer across the front of the property in common with sea frontage road, some cedar hedges across the front, and then driveway, and then providing landscaping over the remainder of the property. Mostly grass, but some gravel, evergreens, and there's some plants that are existing on the property as well. And then the building materials for the deck and the accessory building would be natural materials, cedar. Temporary use permit. So temporary use permit. This looks at the use of the property. The development permit looks at the form and character. The temporary use permit looks at the use of the property. So as it is now, the property could be used as a campground, which is only for temporary use for the traveling public, or it could be where you could have an owner operator dwelling on the property, but it would have to be in a commercial building. So they're proposing something different from those two. They'd like to use a recreational vehicle for the owner operator of the principal use of property, the landscaping business. So the conditions of the temporary permit we're recommending are that the owner maintains business license, the recreational vehicle must be connected to water and sewer, and that the vehicle, the deck, accessory building be removed at the expiry of the temporary use permit. There's an opportunity to ask for a security deposit. In this case, staff's recommending that no security deposit. Here you can see a drawing of the property. So this is located now west from the Trans Canada. You can see Sicamous Cedar Products, and then the vacant lot, and then the next property. Then this is looking kind of straight on from the Trans Canada. You can see that the gravel, the driveway have already been started, and yeah, you can see that where the deck and the area straight off here. We sent this out for consultations, referred it internally. There were no objections. The engineering technologist did recommend that a water meter cross connection device be part of the water system, and then that they be removed at the end of the temporary use permit. We had a notice posted in the newspaper. We also sent out notices to everybody We didn't hear anything. And staff's recommending that both permits be issued. Usually you would recommend that there may be a residential use in most urban areas, but this property is a commercial property, been vacant for a while. Allowing the temporary use to test it out, to see if the business is going to be successful, maybe they'll eventually build a house. So, and staff's recommending that these permits be issued.
Comments or questions from council? Council, okay.
Yeah, so temporary use, thank you. Temporary use, that's a 2-year with a 1-year extension, is that how that works?
So this permit is for, sorry, through the chair, so this permit is for 3 years. After 3 years, they take it back to council and ask for extension of a further 3 years. So it could be a total of 6 years.
Okay, so. Yeah. But that transcends the tenure of this council, so. There's a possibility on a temporary use side of things that they get entrenched and sort of get like living there the way they are, and then a new council comes in, no extension, so it might be hard to get them to move out of there after a 3-year temporary use permit. So you're not asking for any deposits. Should we not cover ourselves? Maybe asking for a deposit just because of the temporary use side of things, and if they keep out property, whatever, we have some funds that.
Chair, yeah, it was thought about. I think 3 years, you can ask the applicant, I think 3 years is kind of what they're looking at. And then hopefully after 3 years, then I think the idea is they'll look for something different. You're right, with the security deposit, it does provide some assurance. I think it's, if the unit is going to be movable. I think the 10x10 shed and the deck are relatively minor improvements on the property. But you're right, it does provide security if we can't get them out, then we may have that deposit that is always available to incentivize the.
Council Long.
I'm just trying to figure out what this deposit is for. The deposit is for us having to let it clean up after they leave, or is the deposit for, what is the purpose of the deposit?
Chair, it's for both. So typically it'd be, depending on the use, it could be quite large, I think, for the tent structure down on Sicamous houseboats. I think that was $10,000 or $5,000, so that was quite a large one. But yeah, it's A, to clean up the property if it needs to be cleaned up, and B, it's an incentive as well, right? It's like, hey, you have $2,500 remember sitting here, this is your incentive to, get this return to you.
They're renting from the owner next door, or they have a break with the owner next door. The owner owns that property. They're off. And I drive by it every morning, going to him, but it's a damn eyesore. And they're gonna clean it up, so it's gonna look good, I think, for 3 years, so I'm just going like, I'm pretty sure that they'll leave it in better condition than it is sitting right now today. And hopefully by then something happens, so that's.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jeff. The people that own the property will have a deposit from them for renting that lot and running their business out of it. So they probably already got to put a deposit up to him. And so I don't know what we're gonna gain from asking for another deposit, so that we don't want to scare them away either, too. That's what I'm kind of worried about too. But
I'm good with staff recommendation, because I don't see any issue. It's pretty well protected from one way or another, so I can't get any questions. All right, so I'm gonna get a mover on this, so I would like to have the recommendation by staff, because it's long-winded, moved by, Councilor Mullins, seconded by Councilor Harris. Any other comments or question on this? Question all in favor? Carried unanimously. Thanks, Scott. All right, so development variance permit application 21-182 ABP 409 Martin Street. I will read out the recommendation that the district is authorized to issue the development variance permit number 21-182 DVP for lot 6, district lot 452, Carroll's Division Yellow, plan EPP 52876, 409 Martin Street, very the district of civil zoning bylaw 101. Setback for single family dwelling from 5 meters to 3 meters. Scott, you can give us a bit of a report on this. Could I get a mover on this? Councilor Malmus, second by Councilor Bushel. This was discussed at the planning committee. That's why I was looking for those people to move. Second, and Scott, give us a report. Thanks.
So this is an application for a development variance permit. It's on Martin Street, right in the corner of Hemlock. Pamela McHugh is on through our Zoom. If council has any questions, this will vary the setback from the exterior side. See the property is located on Martin Street and then just at the start of the next phase of the Hemlock Crescent subdivision. Zoned medium density residential, designated in OCD, and then zoned R1 and R2 single family residential. So the proposal will vary the setback from the property line from meters to 3 meters. The idea is they'd like to move the house over a bit towards Hemlock Street so they can use the other side of the property for parking. You can see the elevations of the property. So the front end elevation, the top left drawing, they'd like to access the back of the property through that right side and make use of that property. I think the exterior side elevation, the middle one, that shows what's going to be visible from Hemlock Street. And I think with the with the features on that, it would actually be nice if you be looking at a it's actually a nice little improvement, an architectural feature for the property. We sent this in for consultation or can we get any questions from yeah, I think it's a minor change. One of the members of the planning development committee recommended it go forward just because the rest of the street just point out the rest of the house on the street as well. So and another.
Right. Comments or questions from Councilor Mullins?
Yeah, just the planning committee, planning and development supports it.
All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, going to call a question. All those in favor?
You get a mover, so.
Yeah.
Morning.
I made sure that you guys who sit on the planning committee moved it second. That's all right. All right. Usually that's my mistake. All right, notices of motions. Okay, washroom and concession facility construction, Sicamous Beach Park.
If they're still on the phone, we just want to let them know that it was successful and
Oh, it's just a couple of emails that we got from some two people. Go ahead.
Can you message them?
sure, I can.
Thank you, through the chair. My question about the beach park, already answered today. Talking about the construction of the bathroom. Okay. And that we can relay that information if it works to the couple people that we know asked about progress.
So in regards to the concerns by the particular parties, has there been any response to them at this stage?
I believe all complaints that have come in have been responded to and,
Okay.
advised the reason why, and also, Public Works is made aware as well.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Any other comments or questions on this at this stage? All right. So the concerns are there, and they're legitimate concerns. I went down to the beach park and we're loaded right up with the bridge across the Eagle River and whatnot. We're behind on this particular project and whatnot, but it's going to get done. And we'll get done, and it's going to be awesome when we get it done. Unfortunately, it had an impact on us this year, but post-COVID, 42 weather. So next, the 10-day childcare. Councilor McCabe, you wanted to comment on this?
Yeah, thank you through the chair. I just put this in for a conversation where needed. Evan gives us that daily report from the provincial cabinet. And it looks like the federal government is contributing big time to BC for childcare and or childcare. And there's certain criteria they have to meet. One of them is you have to be a non-profit. And apparently about 90% of the license have to be licensed daycare and not for profit. So most of the licensed daycares in BC are for profit, about apparently 90% of them. So we're sitting pretty here for maybe getting some grant money. I know we don't own it, we just own the building, but maybe we can encourage maybe our community support services to apply for that grant, and maybe we can get support from council to supply us with a letter. Because I think we've got an excellent thought. So yeah, just like to ask council for support, a support letter that will ask seems or even community support services if they're interested in applying, that will support them. We should encourage them to apply.
Why would they not? I can honestly say I read through that entire report as well. I mean, it's I think it's $2.2 billion that could be allotted for daycare, and but I think we should be watching their attention.
So I can do that.
Thanks. Councilor McCabe, thank you. All right, so with that in the hands of staff. Zoning application, zoning amendment application number 21-061 RZ 1129 Riverside. Zoning amendment bylaw number 1004/2021 be adopted on the 14th day of July. Push up. Comments or questions? All question, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, zoning amendment application 21-062 RZ 610 Maple Street with recommendation of zoning amendment bylaw number 1006/2021 be adopted this 14th day of July 2021. I need a mover on this. Councilor Parrish, Councilor Evans, any comments on this? Call question, all in favor? All right, so donation policy F2. recommendation that donations to the district policy have to be replaced with the donation policy up to and presented this 14th day of July 2021, and that memorial W-2 be repealed. I need a mover on this. Councillor Bushel, Councillor Evans. Quick report on that.
Sure. Thank you through the chair. So this is a team effort between me and Daryl. Basically, the existing policies, they're a little lacking. And so the revised policy is just more robust and more encompasses all donations to the district. Just coming forward with some fees and charges that would correlate with this policy in terms of when somebody donates to the district, are we capturing the cost recovery of what that donation actually is? So if it's a tree, we have to maintain it, irrigate it. There's actually costs, so it is absolutely lovely to receive donations, but we just want to make sure that there's some cost recovery mechanisms for it. And also just some guidelines, like giving the operations manager just a little bit of discretion that when somebody wants to donate a tree, is it going to the right place, or a bench is, some spacing, and just providing that discretion to our operations manager in terms of the logistics of accepting these donations. So this policy is more robust than the two that are existing, and so if council is satisfied with what this policy, the scope of it, I'm recommending that it would be adopted, and that the other two would basically be repealed, and then coming up with some fees and charges to correlate with this.
Comments or questions? Hearing none.
I just, when I never thought of that there is a cost to getting a donation. So it was just, I agree. I never thought of it. Nothing free, not even a donation.
All right, all those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, John. Fees and charges is amending bylaw number 1009, 2021 for second and third reading. Recommendation of fees and charges amended bylaw.
Perhaps before I know that there's some amendments to these charges based on the rental rates of the Eagles Nest, so maybe we should clarify those before we move it.
Move this?
Yeah, because we might
So
only get
you want
it.
to just,
Let's just
put this on the next one.
No, let's just go through it right now, and I can capture those amendments before we resolve to read it the number of times that you decide to read it. Okay, let's just go through the bylaw. Okay, so the first one, recreation program fees, what we've done here is that we've included some language, rather than the recreation and the next manager needs to come every single time to council and including a fee for a new program that she wants to offer. We've included some language in there that we run through legal, and legal was quite satisfied by it. That basically any recreation program not identified in the list above would just be charged at the actual cost divided by the number of minimum registrants plus 10%. That's the plus 10% for administration and the actual cost to run that program. So that's just, it captures anything. So if she wants to do a one-day event, I think potentially there might be some skateboard camp opportunities, right? It just, we don't have to go to council every single time to be able to offer those programs. So that's that language. Special event fees. So this is where we may want to maybe make some amendments in terms of modular accommodation facility rental. So currently we have the daily rate set at $20 per person. We have a weekly rate at $1,400, the damage deposit and cleaning fee, and then again that discretion for the CAO to waive for nonprofit groups. Perhaps what I heard from council earlier is we might want to include the words off season to weekly rate, or perhaps amend the 1,400 to reflect something more accurate to the 6,700 that is charged to the Eagles for their long-term lease. I think that would be, I did some math, it was like 1,546. So I don't know what council's like, or if you'd like, we could not include this time and bring this up later.
Bring it back. Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, thank you. I was just thinking about the weekly rates for the hockey accommodation facility and just recovering our costs. And if we are charging the Eagles $6,700 a month, which works out to about, I think, $1,650 or something, just under $1,700 a week. If you just assumed a month was 4 weeks, I think we should be charging more for weekly. We should be doing at least $2,000 a month for a weekly rate, or not 2,200. If it houses 22 people, that's $100 a person per week if it's full. I think we should have the weekly rate more than what we have the monthly rate.
Just revisit this particular recommendation and you guys do a little bit of research and that's what
Okay.
you actually want. Okay, that's some discussion. Go ahead, Al.
So just quickly, when we originally talked about negotiations with the Shuswap Hockey Academy, which is outside of Sicamous, that's where the $9,000 that Councillor Malmus was talking about, 2,200 to 2,300 a week. The Eagles enjoy a discount for obvious reasons. They're our team, they're our community, so we only charge, is it 68, Kelly, 67?
67, yeah.
67. So if it's an out of town or a non-local hockey academy, at 22 kids at full capacity, it's $100 per child for the week. It's cheap. Okay, and that would be more consistent with the roughly $9,000 a month that we are offering the Shuswap Hockey Academy. We'll make those changes. We're just making sure that that is understood by council.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the recommendation that's on the table right now.
Yeah.
We should probably make this just today.
So, okay, so we'll take this now, because the last one is the memorial donation. So, I mean, we cannot do any readings today and bring this back to the next council meeting.
Sure.
Because I don't think there's any urgency. The only urgency would potentially be recreation fees. I think that there's some potential programming that could be offered that we don't have any recovery of fees this summer. So if we're happy with the donation fees that are set, then I've got some wording here where we can just amend it to not worry about the modular accommodation facility today, but still start working through getting those recreation fees adopted. And then memorial donations, which is everything is actual cost plus. So for the motion then would be that presentation, that fees and charges amending bylaw number 1009, 2021 be read a first and second time with the following amendments. And then it will be strike out, strike out 1B.
Through the chair, just read it first and second time.
Sure, we should still take, if we're reading it a first and second time, let's still make that amendment though to remove part 9. I guess for first and second, make those changes.
Yeah. Make the change.
Okay, yeah. You were right, you're the deputy corporate officer.
No. Yeah, I resign. I resign.
Yeah. First and second.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Any other comments or questions?
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna call it quick. All in favor? Good, thank you. Clarity.
So I can make those changes.
All right, correspondence for action. Okay, so it's the last letter of intent and invitation. Evan gave us a report on this earlier today, so that's been covered. Then there's correspondence from Mrs. Washer regarding the tennis court resurfacing. Recommendation that resurfacing of the tennis court be considered as part of budget discussion for the 2022 fiscal year. That's a recommendation moved by Councilor Bushel, second by Councilor Perry's. I think that will be definitely part of the conversation. Any other comments on that? Call the question, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, correspondence with action. That the September 21st, 2021 Salmon Saving Credit Union Saskia board meeting as the district representative to consider the application of Saskia's 75th Legacy Art project to be constructed at the Sicamous Beach Park. Who does council Would you like to recommend that we send as a representative? Councilor Evans? Good. Okay, have a volunteer. Do we have anyone else want to? Call question, Kelly?
Did you want me to provide some clarification on exactly what the process is here?
You sit on the board, right?
Yeah, yes, I do. So I can just to highlight. So Sicamous has been chosen for the place where a piece of artwork is going. Daryl, from a staff perspective, is going to an information session on July 15th with to, point out some spots within Beach Park that a potential piece of art could go. There's $75,000 that the credit union is allocating towards this art project. At the end of the day, the art project will be ours to maintain, like a donation. There is cost to it. So we need to make sure the material works and that it fits, with artwork and everything in the beach park. And so he will be at that meeting July 15th. Then it's going out to artists, and the artists will provide a submission by the end of August with different options of what that artwork is. And the artwork's theme is about coming together. That's the theme of the artwork. So however an artist interprets that, that's the theme. And then there will be a short list of, depending on how many, maybe 10 applications, and then those people could be less depending on how many artists submit. Those people will be asked to do presentations to the board, at which time a representative from the District of Sicamous will be there, which will be potentially Bob Evans, to just be involved with the choice and narrowing that down to probably the top 3, at which point those top 3 get voted on by the credit union members. And then the plan is to have it constructed within spring of 2022.
Good job. All right.
Lots of pressure.
Representative for us based on that. Councilor Evans. All right, so we're going to put Councilor Evans in particular. So that Councilor Evans attends the September 21st, 2021 Salmon City Credit Union Saskatoon Board meeting as the district representative to consider the application for Saskatoon's 75th Legacy Art Project to be constructed at the Sicamous Beach Park. Do I have a mover? Councilor Ayers, Councilor Malmas, all those in favor? Very good on you, Mr. Evans. Look out for that. Quite an honor to do that, actually. Okay, so now correspondence for information. Is there anything here that any of you councilors would like to discuss in this particular time? Councilor McCabe, go ahead.
Yeah, if we could just discuss maybe the BC Transportation, BC Active Transportation Grant. The intake ends in
End of the month.
this month. Population less than 15,000 will get 80% of it covered.
About halfway down.
So I'm just wondering staff's or council's appetite to, I didn't really have a concrete idea, but there's two elements, the funding, one's for, I believe, one's for planning and one's for construction. I think one for planning. 50,000 for planning or $500,000 for construction and implementation. So I'm talking pedestrian for Main Street. So maybe we should try for the 50 grand for some planning.
Already.
For implementation.
We're ready to go.
I think we should shoot for something bigger for the pedestrian bridge. So I'm open to that. I just wanted to bring attention to Brent, we should be applying for that something.
So I think that we apply for that, at the start of that walkway, we can do this, because it's active transportation. It's a walkway. It's not gonna go very far, but, you know, it's like a lot of places, they can't go very far to grab around like that, so.
Well, we'll leave it to staff standards. Right, okay, I think that's a good idea. Just grab on. Anything else?
It's actually only 7%. Community less than 15,000.
That's your partner.
Yeah, so we should.
So, just to add to the interior health and the vaccination clinics and whatnot, during the rec meeting the other day, we're going to send out a personal invitation to IH, vaccine roll group to attend our event on August the 2nd. And hopefully we can give them a big thank you during that event. All right. Anything else that anybody would like to talk about? Lots of great, Councilor Evans.
Thank you through the chair. I just wanted to say my support for the 3-digit suicide prevention hotline. I thought that was really good. I don't know if people want to let her support or not, but be a good idea.
We have staff to do a letter of support to them, Mr. Parliament. All right. One thing I wanted to, is there anything else that you would like to chat about? There was one thing that brought to my attention, because it's on such a good record with our CDC and global and water recognition, and it comes to Brenda Dizell's projects down the bridge in regards to the Gord Downey that thing produced by an excellent artists and so forth. And it's been quite the conversation. I contacted and had a picture with Brenda and the meaning behind it. And it's got lots of traction. So it's going to be better. All right, anything else as far as any of these letters?
It's not in the letter.
Seems.
Our community for a long time has been talking. About having a Wi-Fi downtown each park. So I'd like to recommend that for the cost of it, you do a little research. I just went and purchased a Starlink.
What?
Starlink satellite. The signal out of his unit covers my entire property. Unlimited data. Speed download was 100 GB, estimated through 3 different things. Upload was 26 MB. So you can't provide. You might get it on fiber. And the price is $140 a month. So $140.
Definitely gonna apply.
That's unlimited data. So we talk about having this service in our community, like the ability to offer it. We can do this or hook up to that and do this. Well, he has. If you look at his satellite map, there's probably 20 years away about that. That satellite dish automatically set up there, plug it in. It went up, it did its own thing. It's basically sitting at an angle like that. It's almost flat, pointing straight. That would be a tree built at nothing. So it's an option that we should consider. We are a test facility. And I'm pretty sure that in the near future, you'll be on Musk, you'll get TV, you'll get phone, satellite phone, you'll get. It's a lot less for that service. And it's phenomenal, like the speed is unbelievable.
So Daryl, who's gonna check into this?
Well, through the chair, we have made provisions for Wi-Fi to the beach park as part of the upgrade. Not to say we had. See what's available.
We'll just look at it. It's just start. It's a phenomenal.
Might be the difference for that.
Through the chair, Jeremy's been doing some homework on that, and there's a community that is Caslo, and he's been talking to the crew in Caslo, the geeks in Caslo, and he's setting up a tour to go there, and I don't know, maybe you want me to go, maybe you might want to go too. And they have a system there because they're really bringing in a lot of computer geeks to their community because of this Elon Musk starting. And what they want to do is Jeremy wants to do a community one so that we can, the community, the Development Corporation could actually apply for it and then provide the entire community with free Wi-Fi, not free Wi-Fi, but way cheap.
So, Colleen?
Right, yeah, and let Jeremy carry it for ACT-UP, right? And you guys go along.
I should say.
Yeah.
Research, because he's not.
So
I'm just saying.
That's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
It's gonna be Elon Musk. He's gonna do a good job. I don't like the electric car idea, but the rockets he's building, the system that he's built, like, and the beauty of it was never in my life have I bought something and they say, oh yeah, I ordered it on Wednesday, it said it would be delivered on Friday. It was at my house at 7:30 Friday morning. Like, he knows what service is, right? Then they phone you and say, you haven't hooked it up yet. I said, yeah, well, my system's a little complicated, so I gotta get a guy to get me a hand. Well, when's he coming? I said, today is a matter of fact. So they sent me a text and said, thank you for that.
Well, we need to find a model and then pull the trigger. Go ahead.
yeah, and also Mike, Ed's Rental, he's been using it for a while and it's working really well.
All right. That being said, recommendation pursuant to section 91 A, B, F, G, and I of the community charter, council exercise authority to move the camera in moving ordinance. Councilor Ayers, Councilor Wallace, all in favor, Martin Cameron, thank you for joining the meeting, guys.
We'll see your brothers in 10 minutes.